So things are so bad at Nissan right now that they're having talks with Honda.
Big shakeup in the auto industry. There is a behemoth in the making.
For them to come in and form a merger to help this sinking ship.
The deal is seen as a lifeline for Nissan, which recently cut 9,000 jobs.
And maybe Honda has some of the answers that Nissan doesn't have right now.
Together, the two companies would form the third largest automaker in the world.
And one of the things that was said that I think is very comical is they said that this was not a bailout.
Honda is coming, obviously dominating whatever partnership is going to come out of it.
This merger was not going to be a bailout of Nissan. And the reason I think it's funny is because I'm like, nah, it's absolutely a bailout. I mean, here's the thing. We've seen Nissan when they're going into emergency mode.
Nissan is in panic mode.
See, emergency mode, you hear it? All the alarm bells are flying and they're ringing for Nissan. And you're going to have a situation where, okay, if Honda doesn't come in and bail them out, well, somebody else is going to have to come in and buy them out, or they're going to go under. And there's a quote going around the internet from a Nissan insider saying that, okay, Nissan will not be able to survive another 12 to 14 months at the rate that it's going right now. Will not be able to survive. They will go under if something doesn't change. And this is why this merger has to come in, and it has to come in now. They have to do this or Nissan will not survive. So in this merger, you also have Mitsubishi that is potentially going to join it. In my opinion, I think they will. So you have Honda, Nissan, and Mitsubishi. So Honda is trying to prove the fact that, okay, maybe two wrongs can equal a right. I believe that Honda's the right in this whole situation, but the two wrongs are obvious, right? All right, so while I'm here, I'll at least do some of my thing here. I'll show you the price. There's a CRV and a Pilot right next to each other. Show it to you just in case you're curious, seeing some of these cars behind me. This is a 2025 Pilot CRV, 1.5 turbo, two-wheel drive. And MSRP on this is $31,450. And the thing about it is a small SUV. I mean, you see RAV4 with very similar pricing. I think Honda knows a thing about getting the right price point to be able to move the right kind of vehicles, and this is something that Nissan can really benefit for. But we'll show you. Okay, here's the next step up in size. We got a Pilot. So here, 2025 Pilot all-wheel drive Sport, $44,000. And this is going to relate probably close to your maybe Pathfinder is a similar size. Consumers looking at a Honda versus a Nissan, and they're direct competitors with each other, same kind of consumer. In almost every case, because you just track their reliability, consumers going to go with a Honda. And this is why this merger is going to probably be a very, very good thing for Nissan. So I can already see it in the comments. Well, what benefit does Honda gain from merging with a company like Nissan? I mean, Nissan has a very shaded reputation as far as quality. I mean, we can go on and on about the transmissions. There are cars that go through auction that are made by Nissan that I won't even look at because I know that transmission is trash before I even would sit in the car, and they don't bring any money. I mean, Nissan has a very, very bad reputation for reliability, especially in used cars, and that's going to carry on to people who want to buy brand new cars, because if you have this history of bad transmissions, of bad quality, of cars just breaking down, then it's going to hurt future new car sales, right? And so why would Honda bring this on? Well, the benefit that Honda gets from this is that they're able to scale. So if you have all the assets that a company like Nissan is going to have, you think more factories, you think more research and development, all of this with the scalability and the ability for them to have more volume, to be able to share in these assets that both companies are going to have, well, you can actually drive costs down. And I think this is really the play coming from Honda, is that they're able to scale better, and when they do that, then they can pull their costs down. Now, will that translate to prices coming down? Probably not, but it means margins will go up. So it's good for a company like Honda, because that means that they can make cars for less and still probably charge the same amount. So Not going to help you as a consumer, but it'll help Honda as a producer. So what this would look like is all three of the brands would actually fall under one holding company. You think like what's happened with Stellantis, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Chrysler, Fiat, Dodge. They're all under this one entity now known as Stellantis. And mergers and acquisitions like this are actually not very rare in the car market, especially when times get tough, when things get a little bit more complicated for a lot of these manufacturers, when times slow down. So I'll give you an example. So we talk about Chrysler and Stellantis, but Chrysler since 1998 has been bought and sold 4 times. And you know how well that's been going for a brand like Chrysler. They were sold 1998, 2007, 2014, and 2021. And it's almost comical because it looks like Chrysler is trying to predict every downturn in the market whenever you look at the actual years. 98, well, we have the crash of with the dot-com bubble. Right after that, 07, well, we know the massive housing dump in 2008. And then 2014, 21, maybe you could cite that towards the COVID stuff. But yeah, they predict a lot of stuff. And here's a whole row of Accords right here. And here's the one with the price. We'll check it out. This is a 2025 Accord Hybrid EXL. Price on this is $36,000. So here's one thing that was said that could hold up the deal. They said that a final deal would hinge on Nissan getting their house in order. Well, that's not going to happen. So in my opinion, though, I think no matter what happens with Nissan in the next few months, 6 months, 12 months, whatever, I still think this deal is going to happen. I really think that that Honda already knows how bad of shape Nissan is in, and there's not really any more strings that we got alarm bells going off again. There's really not any more strings that Nissan can pull. They're already laying off people. They're already doing production cuts. There's not much more that they can do, and Honda knows this. So I think this is just shareholder speak to really say that, okay, we're not doing this merger unless things are right with Nissan. And I really think all this shareholder speak doesn't matter. This merger, in my opinion, is going to happen no matter what situation that Nissan is in, and Honda knows it. They just want to be able to get to where they can scale better, and they can bring costs down. And bringing on a brand and merging with a brand like Nissan is going to allow them to do that. Man, these alarms are driving me crazy. Yeah, it's a busy time. I'm at a dealership now, right at the end of the year. End of the year is best time to buy a vehicle, and they have lots of customers here. With the way that salespeople find cars, they'll grab the keys from their storage inside, and they'll come out here and they'll just nail the alarm button. So if you hear beeping sounds in the background, it means that they're pulling cars for test drives, which is good for a dealership, good for Honda. They said that the big payoffs would not be until 2030. So, I mean, we got 5-6 years until we start seeing a benefit from a merger that could happen next year. And the reason why I bring all this up is because changes in a car brand, they take years and years and years to really fix a lot of things. If they come out with new products, I talk about this with Jeep a lot. The Jeep's gone completely the wrong way, where they've turned more into a luxury brand, and then they can't sell these things that they're trying to sell for outrageous prices. But even if you have a ship that's turned around, I mean, their CEO just left because they're going to a different direction now. But even if you have the ship that just is starting to turn around today, to get new products out at new price points, then it's going to take 2-3 years, because if you start making them today, they're not going to be able to just ramp out production. I mean, you have R&D that's got to go into a lot of these products. You have to find the right price points. You have to find a way to make cars cheaper, to be able to sell them and still make their margins. And this is something that Nissan, Honda are going to have to work on, and that's why it's showing. That's why they're saying that you're not going to see the benefits until 2030 or beyond, because all of this takes so much time. And my worry is it's too late for a company like Nissan and companies like Jeep, Dodge, Ram, because I mean, we're already suffering and we're already in emergency mode, as said by their CEO. And if we're in emergency mode now and we're not getting any kind of fixes, any kind of help for at least another 2, 3, 4 years, because we need new products and we need new products now that are cheaper right now, it might be too late. And I have actually talked to a Nissan franchise manager, and he's very honest with me about the situation in the car market. He's not trying to pump up his own brand or his own dealership or anything like that. And he's told me what he's been doing is focusing on buying used cars. So what he's really said is that a lot of these dealerships that have struggling brands, he mentioned Stellantis, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram, all their brands that are really struggling right now, what they're doing is basically becoming glorified used car dealerships that are able to sell some new cars. So in his case, he's buying a bunch of these used cars from auction that he can make good money on, and that's what he's focusing on. And he's still selling, I mean, new Nissans, they still make money on them, but they can make way more money off these used vehicles. And you're going to see, if you go to any Stellantis dealerships, probably a lot of Nissan dealerships, I think Volkswagen's really going to be in the same boat, that a lot of these dealerships, with the amount of money they have to pull off of their new vehicles, I know at that Nissan dealership that I'm talking about, he's got $7,000, $8,000 off some of these cars, and it gets to be where, okay, you're not making money on these new cars off just the car. You're going to make money on your back, and you're going to make money on F&I, you're going to make money on like a dock fee, but you're not going to make money on the cars. But if you're buying and selling some used vehicles, you can actually make money off that stuff on the car, and then still get your F&I, still get your dock fee. And that's where a lot of these dealerships are going to go, and that's what he said. A lot of these dealerships where their brands are struggling, they're going to become glorified used car dealers that are able to just sell some new vehicles. And that's what we're seeing a lot from Nissan dealers. That's what we're seeing a lot from Stellantis dealers. I mean, there's a Jeep, Dodge, Ram dealership right there on the hill from where I am right now, and their whole front line is nothing but used vehicles. I mean, you would think when the customer comes out of the building, first thing you want them to see is these brand new Jeeps, these brand new Rams. You think they would want to sell those, but no, they would actually rather sell the used vehicles, and that's what's on their front line right now, because that's where their margin is coming from for a lot of these dealerships, because so much money has to come off to even be able to get a customer excited about buying one of the new cars from these struggling brands. And we know that Nissan has taken quite a few steps to try to really fix the problems that they're going through right now. They've tried to cut costs. We've seen that in the numbers of layoffs that they've put out. They've cut 9,000 jobs. They've laid off 9,000 people. That is a massive number. And the reason they're doing this is because they have to save some money somewhere. They're not going to be able to stay afloat if they go at the same rate that they're going right now. And the easy way for a lot of these companies, we see it from Stellantis too, we've seen it from Ford. One of the first things to go when they're trying to keep their margins up, when they're trying to cut costs, is workforce. And usually it's the case that happens before something like a CEO's pay gets cut. Even though I will say with Nissan, their CEO did take a pay cut. I really respect that. It'd be nice for you to see something come out from like a company like Stellantis. Their CEO was making what, $38 million. Might as well have been $38 billion. The dude's getting paid, whatever. He's leaving, so that's a good benefit for Stellantis. But you don't see that very often where CEOs take pay cuts. I think it's a good thing, but I mean, they're just trying to find ways to stay afloat, and an easy way is to lay off people, and that's what they do. But that usually companies will do layoffs before they start cutting executive pay. And I hear it a lot where, okay, you say, oh, all these guys are making these YouTube videos about the market where it's bad things happening, but I don't see anything changing. And I mean, I hear you, because when you're going to a lot of these dealerships and you're looking at just MSRPs, well, you're not going to notice a whole lot of stuff. But let's just think about what's happened in the last 6 months in the car market. Well, you've had thousands upon thousands of people get laid off. You've had CEO of Stellantis, that's the holding company for Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Chrysler. He stepped down. You have now this big merger that's going to happen potentially, probably, in my opinion, it will happen with Nissan and Honda and maybe Mitsubishi also. You're having Production cuts happen everywhere. I mean, it's almost every brand that you see right now that's pulling back on production. And that leads to even more layoffs. You've seen now lots of incentive money come from a lot of these manufacturers. You've seen videos that I'll put out where dealerships are advertising prices lower than MSRP on their lots. They haven't had to do that. All of this has happened in the last 6 months. So for those of you that are watching and think that nothing's happening in the car market, but we still keep on putting out all these videos, well, you're not watching. I understand looking at the headlines and be like, oh, well, the car market's not doing what all these guys are saying it's doing. Things are happening, things are getting shook up, mergers, acquisitions are happening. They're going to continue to happen because the car market's just not what it was a year ago, 18 months ago. And things are trending down in the car market. It's going to continue to go like this. But I wanted to come to this particular Honda dealership to give you an example that I actually experienced with the car market changing. So my wife and I came to this dealership and actually bought a brand new Honda Odyssey van. And it had markups on it. It's not my favorite. And we were saying that, you know what, we probably won't be able to buy one here because I want to write down my price. And it's way off what they are asking for the van. So we just wanted to come in and see. And it turns out we actually got our price. We got one of the Odysseys 10% off MSRP, no add-ons, nothing like that. And we had a great experience. Actually really liked dealing with this dealership. But it's just to show you that, okay, maybe there's dealerships out there that are putting MSRP prices on these vehicles, and they have a bunch of add-ons. This dealership had I think it was like $35,000 or $5,000 worth of add-ons. And the second I walked in there and I wrote down the price that I wanted to pay for the van, salesperson went inside to where the sales manager was, and came back out and said, no, we can't do that. I said, all right, well, we're out. And my wife and I started walking to the door, and he was already going back to his sales manager to see if he could do any more work on it. Doing more work, I mean, he's just trying to get a lower price. But he came back out and he expected us to be sitting down, and no, we were at the door. We were ready to go. And he said, okay, well, let me talk again. And he went to his sales manager, came back out, and we got the price that we wanted. And that's the biggest thing, that if you are negotiating, just show the willingness, one, to buy the van. I mean, I said that, okay, if you can give me this price right now, I will buy it literally right now. And also show a willingness to be able to leave if you don't get your price. So that's what I did. And even though you're not seeing prices change out here on these vehicles as things are advertised, yes, prices are coming down, and they're coming down in a big way. But you might have to ask, and that's what we did. And we got 10% off MSRP on a brand new Honda 6 months ago, 12 months ago. You're probably not doing that. So the market is moving, and you might not be able to see it if you're just walking out here and looking at prices. But behind the scenes, if you go in and talk to a lot of these dealerships, if you just look at the news and see things that are moving in the market, layoffs, production cuts, mergers, I mean, everything's screaming that the car market right now is in a bad place, and it's going to continue to get worse. But if you're not seeing it, you might just need to look a little bit harder.